raise your hand, please. TR.
Kyle, 7 days off. How much of a challenge is that going to be for you to work that out?
I don't know. I mean, I threw a longer bullpen a couple of days ago. Actually did like a 2-inning bullpen. So, the main thing is just trying to stay sharp and get used to the mound. So I'm going to go out and play catch today and probably throw a few pitches off the mound today. But, I mean, there's always times where even during a normal season that, off days give you an extra day or an extra 2 days. So, I don't know. It's that won't be the first thing out of my mouth if something doesn't go well tomorrow, and it won't be the first thing out of my mouth if I feel really good and throw really well. So it's just something that you get used to.
Next question, please, Evan.
Kyle, in relation to the rotation, I haven't talked to you since since Kluber got hurt. And I'm just wondering if you guys, since you were going to be such a strong asset to this team, if there's any sense of, hey, we've got to carry even more weight now, or is that kind of dangerous?
I think that can be a little dangerous. I think that, a team rarely goes, 160 games or, really even 60 games normally with the same 5 starters. So to have an injury in 60 games, it's obviously magnified because there's less games, but it's not more unusual because rarely do you go 12 times through the rotation and not have an injury. But I think, you never can obviously replace a guy like Corey Kluber. But if there was one thing then in spring training that I was pretty impressed about is that there's quite a bit of depth on guys that can go out there and, get 5 or 6 innings of really, really quality MLB pitching. So I think we've got guys, Colby threw the ball the other day. I think we have other guys who can throw the ball really well and be very, very capable of throwing really well. And I think, once the offense gets in a swing, I think it's obviously been forgotten a little bit because the offense struggled here the first couple of weeks. But, this is a team that scored 5 runs a game last year. So, if you're going to score 5 or 5.5 runs a game, it was really just going to supplement the starters that they had brought in and that we had. So the goal was to try to be, that type of really complete team. And now obviously losing Kluber, it changes a little bit because you can't replace that. But I think if the offense, gets going and is somewhere close to what they were last year, I still don't think it changes our outlook on how successful we can be.
Hey, and just the other thing is, you got your kind of first exposure to Allard this spring. You're a pretty observant dude, and then you watched him pitch in a big league game. Is there anything that stands out to you just about the way the guy goes about his business?
I think it's this statement will apply to whether it's Allard or Palumbo or Taylor Hearn or Jonathan Hernandez. I mean, the stuff is there. We got 3 of those lefties, are getting the ball up to mid-90s. You got Hernandez, obviously, who has just, thrived in his role so far, moving to the pen. But, I'm sure the Rangers see him as a starter down the road. So, I mean, I think that's one thing that was really encouraging was just to see the high quality of stuff they have. But they they go out and know how to pitch, and they know how to execute pitches. And it's not just, hey, I'm going to throw this slider as hard as I can and see what happens. Taylor Hearn, he knows how to pitch. He goes out there and knows how to use his stuff and really throw the baseball, really quality pitches in the zone. And I think that's one thing, with Allard and his cutter and the other stuff that he has, he really has learned how to utilize that stuff. And that's half the battle, in the big leagues is learning how to use your stuff against hitters. I can look at a report, that tells me how my pitches break. I can look at a report that tells me my pitch usage and a scouting report. But until I go out there and do it, and until these young kids go out and do it and figure out, how to really pitch without their best stuff and how to pitch with their best stuff, nobody's going to be able to walk them through it. You just got to let them learn, and hopefully these guys can learn on the fly, which so far they're doing a great job.
Great. Thanks, Tom.
Yep.
Any other questions? John Radigan.
Hey, Kyle, a normal year, the Rangers will play out there in Oakland 9 or 10 times a season. Have you had a chance to pitch there in your Minnesota days, and/or how do you like pitching in that ballpark?
Yeah, we're out here once a year, and I definitely pitched here last year. I don't know about the couple years prior, but yeah, I mean, it's a fun environment with fans in the stands. You know, obviously they've got the rowdies out in right field that are constantly making noise with some type of contraption, which makes it fun. And it just seems like the fans kind of understand the game and really get into the game, even though there's not always a large number. I was lucky. I think I threw on July 4th last year, so there was a decent crowd here that night. But you know, it's a fun place to play. It's different because, you know, you're in the middle of the summer normally, and the marine layer rolls in, and night games are still pretty chilly. And it's there's a big contrast between how the ball flies in BP and how it flies in the game. So it's one of those unique parks that changes over the hours and gives you a different feel, you know, from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. So you know, it'll be different with no fans in the stands, but that's kind of how every park's been.
It was really only one off day, but it probably yesterday felt like more because there wasn't a heck of a lot to do. What did you do? How'd you pass the time?
Oh man, we had a couple meals brought into the hotel for guys, and try to keep guys, you know, around each other, and obviously be smart about that, and not, you know, having, you know, large groups of guys without, you know, protection on. But you know, it's something where you try to hang out with guys a little bit and stay in touch with people. Or I know some guys went on a walk. You know, obviously the city's a little different right now. It was kind of eerie a little bit, you know, looking out your window and not really seeing anybody around. So you could go on a walk in San Francisco and not run into anybody right now, which is a little different. But you know, I sat in the room and talked with the family, and then got a little bit of sleep, and then grabbed a couple meals that we had. But you know, it's a different off day, and it definitely feels a lot longer than one day when you can't fill it with other stuff outside the hotel.